Sometimes the behavior in crypto is mind-boggling. There is a token that has been rising very quickly. It's growing a lot. It's now the third largest token on the fastest growing blockchain, on the base chain, yet still the attention on the token is very low. I'm talking about Keeta, or the KTA token. It's interesting to see what's driving the rally. Let's have a look at the on-chain metrics. Let's try to figure out how much higher Keeta could go. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Keeta is at number 4 in terms of liquidity among the trending tokens on the base chain. Now, number 1 is the largest decentralized exchange, Aerodrome. Number 2 and 4, so it seems like this is swapping back and forth. That's Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin. So really Keeta is the largest somewhat new altcoin on the chain. It's only been around for 2 months. And very early after launch, we have already talked about this on this channel here. But here's the dilemma of being a crypto YouTuber. When we talk about assets that are still small, where there's not yet an audience, those videos tend to just bomb. They tend to not get any attention whatsoever. So this was the performance of that first Keeta video published 66 days ago. That's the line in blue. The average video is here in gray, this gray area. At the time, the price was 15 cents. I then published another video, so that's now 6 days ago. It performed slightly better than the first one, but it's still an underperformer. That was when the price was at 61 cents. And now we are at 77 cents. And I believe that this video is likely going to get even more views. So the larger an asset becomes, the more people invest in it, the more audience it also gets on YouTube. In other words, the gems, right? The small tokens that have low market cap, they don't get much coverage because they also don't get a lot of exposure. And so very often when you get the YouTube video recommended by the algorithm, it might already be too late. And so that's why in general, I think it's a good idea to pick your favorite crypto YouTubers and then just follow them directly. Just watch everything that they publish and don't just watch whatever is currently on the timeline, because by the time it's on the timeline in YouTube, it's again already potentially quite late. Now here's something interesting for KTA, for the Keeta token, and I couldn't yet really figure out what exactly is going on. Here's a transaction by Crypto Banter. So that's one of the largest crypto channels across all of YouTube. And for whatever reason, that wallet that we are tracking had more than 120K of KTA and then moved it to another wallet. Now, I don't know what this other wallet is all about, if this is also owned by Crypto Banter or if this is a centralized exchange wallet. But for whatever reason, Crypto Banter had a lot of this token prior to the recent bull run. Maybe they got paid to promote it. I don't know. We're not going to talk about the story of the token one more time. We've already covered this in prior videos. But here's an interesting data point. The project has 13,000 followers on Twitter, now known as x.com. In Telegram, there are a bit over 1,000 members. We've got in total 73,000 holders on chain. A lot of the supply is just held by a single wallet. That's Tokenomics. That's going to get unlocked over time. So this is an inflating altcoin. There will be dumping by the team and by the early investors at one point. But let's have a look at what's causing this rally. So in the last month, we went up by almost 5x or 400%. What we see over here is the number of first-time traders and recurring traders per day. So there was some quite constant growth that had peaked on the 19th of May. That was over here. Since then, the price is going sideways. But people are also not taking profit despite all of that upwards momentum, right? Usually one would expect after a 7 and an 8x from this bottom that people take profit. When the number of new users declines, the price should also go down. It's not what we observe for KTA. Also, the ratio of returning users to new users tends to worsen in the last few days. There were 2 big waves of adoption across the small retail wallets. So what we see here on the left is the number of wallets that have at least 1,000 KTA. So at the current price, that's a bit under $1,000. In the middle, we see at least 10,000 tokens of minimum holding. On the right, 100,000 tokens. So it's small retail on the left, medium-sized retail in the middle, and the whales on the right. The whales bought just with the first rally and then kept on holding. And small retail really started buying in on the 8th of May again. So this rally here was retail driven. The first rally was more across the entire market. In the last 2 to 3 days, we did not see that much more accumulation across across the small wallets. However, the number of whales did slightly go up. So what seems to be stabilizing the price right now is purchasing by the heavyweights. It's purchasing by the whale. It seems to be quite obvious that it's not retail that pushes up the price right now. Again, the attention on Keeta is still very low. And even though now that the price has rallied a bit further, this video might perform slightly better, but I still don't think it will be as successful as a video on Fartcoin, for example. It's also always interesting to see what the people are buying that got Keeta very early. So there's two ways to look at this. Either we look at the wallets that received the token very early. So that's potentially team wallets and early investors and insiders. And then we can also look at the wallets that purchased the token very early on decentralized exchanges. So they didn't get this sent directly from the token creator, but instead they had to swap into the token. Now, when we go through this list, a lot of those wallets don't hold KTA anymore. But there are some interesting gems. For example, here is Armats. He got KTA again in the very first hour of trading, and he's currently holding a lot of X33. I don't know this token, but it's potentially worth researching, right? If this guy made a lot of money with KTA, why not check the next bets he's doing? He seems to be incredibly active on Phantom, now called Sonic. 60% of his portfolio is on that chain. I have a look at this wallet over here. It's got $500,000. It's invested in Hyperliquid. It's also got the Buddy token, and it tends to now mainly bet on Ethereum, not on Bitcoin, with some stable coins as well. But it's always interesting to just see what's going on. When you're buying a token like Keeta in the very first hours, this is not just luck, right? There is some skill involved. And so it always makes sense to just have a look at what the skilled people are doing. Now, some people might make the argument that all of this analysis doesn't help at all because markets are efficient. But I tend to disagree because it's people that make markets efficient. There are clearly winners and losers in the game, and the winners tend to continue to win. So it's not just a game of luck, it's a game of luck and skill. And the nice thing about crypto is that we've got much more data in this market compared to other markets because every transaction is publicly recorded on the blockchain. But very few people actually use that data properly. And that's in the end where winners and losers are born. People that don't look into the details enough, they tend to lose over time. That's the vast majority. Now, the charts that you've seen in this video come from a tool that I've developed myself on top of the Dune Analytics platform. It's part of the premium membership of this channel. There are two dashboards. There's a dashboard for Ethereum related blockchains. So those are the ones we can analyze. We can plug in any token into this tool, and then we can see how many large holders are there, how many small holders are there, how many new users enter a token, and how many buyers and sellers do we have over time. It's also always useful to look at the token ownership, right? Is a token mainly held just by the whales, by the people that have more than $100,000 worth of the token? If that's true, it's potentially, especially if that happened forever, a quite dangerous token. And so this is how I think about this fundamentally. The target with trading and with investing is to be better informed than the average, to be the person that makes the market efficient. If we are better skilled than the average person, then we should over time also make positive expected value bets. So that means that not every single trade will be positive, but on average, we should make money. Again, because we can estimate the probabilities better. We can see the dangers and the potential upsides better. Now, I have made more than 100 tutorial videos on various topics within crypto. How to do on-chain analytics, how to build a Dune dashboard like we've just seen. But of course, you also get access to the dashboard itself. Also about risk management, about how to properly use leverage, if that's your thing. All kinds of videos. Feel free to check them out. The newest video is this one, how to use perpetual futures and how to use the Hyperliquid platform to beat others. The videos are posted on the website, but they're also posted directly in Telegram. And here's the feedback to that tutorial. Feel free to stop the video and read through this yourself. But of course, we also need to start somewhere. And so I'm personally, of course, sharing my own trades as well as I open them. Of course, I can't share the newest trades here on YouTube, but have a look at this. This is on March 3rd. I'm adding another short, Cardano, relative to the US dollar. And the explainer was in a premium update video. So I publish premium update videos every 3 to 4 days. I then added more exposure on the 11th of March, and I then closed it on the 7th of April. So of course, not every trade works out that well, but Cardano went down relative to Bitcoin by 36% during that time. And so with this membership, I want to do both. Of course, I want to make it profitable very quickly. That's why I share my trades. But I also want that the vast majority, at least, of the members takes the time to learn as much as possible. That in the end, you might not even need the membership anymore. You can make your own profitable trades. Now have a look at this. This is where our members share their winning trades. If you use the right leverage, if you know how to do proper risk management as well, you can make hundreds of % in a single trade. It's all about being prepared and knowing the data better than most other market participants. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 US per month. The price has been reduced because currently the attention on crypto is still relatively low. Once Bitcoin hits new all-time highs again, then I might go back to the 165. But the 125 is locked in for everybody that signs up now. So when the price increases, when you are still subscribed, your price will not increase. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. There's also a link to Premium directly here on the right. Just click on that. It will lead you directly to the website. So see you next time. Cheers.